Hello, beautiful people, wherever you are. The song means that it has reached in the evening. Now the goodness of the bed gonna be starting. If you get it, get it. If you don't get it, forget about it. Here we start this kind of the journey today. It's one-on-one live coverage from this kind of the platform. Guys, those are called the traditional dances. And I can just categorize and I can tell you how they have been. Because once upon a time, I saw Mr. Chised Bogo came out to tarnish our own, talk about our own culture, our own norms, our own morals, and it was not a good thing, and it was so pathetic and disgusting at the same time, because whenever we hear such kind of the things, whenever we hear such kind of the sound, guys, this is a traditional music that was ever been played so as people can come together as a team, because it was called a unity songs. There are unity songs that could just gather so many people together, and whenever they come closer to each and other, though they can just unite. Intermarriages ever happened because we have the impact. Today, let me teach you the history. Wherever you are, it's not part of the reactions every time. Let me teach you the history of our culture. And here it comes. Get out those ones that came out from Mr. Chised Bogo. Those are just shits. He was just peeing wherever he doesn't know where the pooing is. So it's just, he was ramoning. He was contradicting his own perception. He was just a pseudotype intellectual who cannot even think above, even think above the beyonds that are gonna be coming, because he is just a puppet. Because here is the real valid point about let the others who are talking about, oh, I'm a Korean, oh, I'm this and this and this, and doing stupid and nonsensical things that cannot be engaged to our own philanthropic Alice Basha. Here is the real point about our culture, and Gintu gonna be giving you in once more time. Gintu, let's go, man. DJ Gintu. It's one-on-one live station. Woo! It has reached in the evening. Hey, the goodness of the bed. It has reached in the evening. Goodness of the bed. It has reached in the evening. Goodness of the bed. Woo! Woo! Guys, it's the music that was ever been played since our ancestral, our great grandfathers, because they started that kind of the music, because the thing that was like a guitar, That's why even they got to formulate a guitar. It wasn't, you can just get it. So it was, it was like a guitar. So it's called the traditional guitar. So it was played, and you know the sound, where the sound base is coming from, it is made from the skin and hides from the cows. The skin of the cow, whenever it's dried, it's now formulated to form such kind of a drum that whenever that kind of the rope is hitting, it's like a blood format. Whenever it hit it, this is how it goes. The one here, so guys, this kind of the instruments, they were used in terms of the unity. And I can just commence, why are they introduced? And how were they introduced? And at what rate are they being allowed for this kind of the people? You know, we are just the upcomings. But there are people who are intellectually from their ancestry. And they know how the norms and the customs are withheld. They know everything from the traditional type. And this is how it was. Whenever there was a celebration of the king, whenever there was a celebration of circumcision of the boys, not FGM, I don't deal with such kind of the things, because they are putting us in a hike that, oh, we can do it, but it's so bad to do it. That's why we say about there's nothing like that. We cannot just be there to talk about it. It can never be. And for the people who are doing it, maybe the hand of the government is so long. I hear that one. The government hands are so long. I'm going to be not dealing with such kind of the things, because they are not allowed. So they are abolished in our custom and our culture. Fact. So how the things were going, the boys were just introduced to such kind of the customs, and before they could go for the circumcision period, they were introduced, they were just put in an age set. An age set was set. So as whenever an age set was grouped together, they come from various points. We know here in Kuria we have tribes. We have Abakira, Abanchari, Abeirege. We have Abarenchoka. We have such kind of the tribes. They talk about not tribes. They are called clans. We have clans that, and every clan has a clan elder. So whenever these clan elders, these are the aged, only fathers who are aged, grands. So they are aged more than 70s and above years. So this kind of the people, they have their cultural norms where they could just have shrines, meaning that they had a big tree where they could go, like paganisms. So they could go and gather and talk about now, you know, there's no day you'll ever see all clans having talk about a circumcision at once. Every clan could have their own year of circumcision, and it was done after every 3 years. And whenever this kind of the talk about the aged elders, they could just gather together because they call each other. And the tools that were being used for them to gather, it's either smoke, the traditional signs of communication. If you can just relate, we have smoke, we have which is smoke, we have the horn blowing, we have singing, we have making loud voice, that's kind of the voices, and also we had a messenger. So it now differs. Which kind of the type of the messaging are you going to send to these people? And they have to reach, because they were using messengers. Sometimes the messengers could not reach. What was the limiting factor for such kind of a messenger not to reach? One, during the traditional time, during the 19th century, there was wild animals. Wild animals were rampant. Like right now, whenever you talk about Masai Mara, even here we are, it was Masai Mara. It's just only the sympathization of the government talked about, okay, let's restrict, so as this kind of a game park can be restricted to because Masai Mara National Park, it is a park with no boundary. They can just move freely. Even you can find it even here right now. Because in the late ancient time, This kind of the wild animals were coming, even whenever you are in at night mostly. Talk about elephants. They were coming to eat, they're called pumpkins. You know, in the traditional time, a pumpkin, the fruit and also the leaves were consumed as what? As veggies. You know that? So this kind of the wild animals were coming to feed. And also whenever you have goats, you know the traditional time, people had goats, more than 200 goats, more than 100, more than 500. Even cows. So you can just find a person has 200 cows. For male cows, they're like 150. For the milking cows, they were like 50. So you get some of the calves. Calves were like 40. So how many cows are being milked? Calculate. Whenever I say that way, I mean this. So while the wild animals ever came to feed on the domestic animals, so this government, people were crying in the ancient time. They were crying, oh, why could the government restrict this kind of the things? And the people now started going to hunt. That's why now Homo erectus evolved. People started to hunt. And you know, a human being like an African, they were eating in terms of Homo erectus and Homo sapiens. Homo sapien, Homo sapien sapien. So Homo erectus, they were eating raw meat. And before they invented fire, Homo erectus invented fire. So whenever they invented fire, now one day they were eating a raw meat. Then whenever, you know, at night, they have a spot like a bonfire. So they put their fire as people round it around and make sure that they are gathering together to make sure that they can get that warmth at night, because there were no blankets, there were no clothes, they were using skins and hides as their own shelter, as their own things like clothing. So you can bear with the sacrament. They were using leaves for the bananas. They were using other leaves. They were using maize stalks to make sure that they're putting like a bedding. So they were using soft things. They were the people who are using. If you have ever heard about this from the English people, and it came with the English people with a boat, they were talking about, oh, you know what? Use the local material around you to sustain your sustainabilities. Use the local material around you to put it down. Sleep on top whenever you put a hide. Tomorrow is another day. That was the hype of our ancestral fathers. And the fact now comes here. So whenever they were gathering together, Homo erectus discovered one day, one guy was chewing, and you know the ribs. Whenever you are chewing the ribs, which are raw, so you have to struggle to make sure that you are just chewing that kind of the meat. So even removing it from the bone, you have to struggle. It's not a struggle of cucumberizing. Those are just sweating. The struggle. Make sure that you are manpower. And the teeth, I don't know if the teeth are with high power like even hands. I don't know. So whenever you so that meat, whenever he did this way, it went to the fire. So whenever he started going to look for the meat, it had got some of the heat. Now the meat started becoming soft. So that's how this guy started to, it is soft. And I was struggling. Let me repeat it here. So whenever he put it there, he saw the meat was roasting. And now they came up to know that, oh, you can even roast the meat. And it becomes tender. It becomes having flavor. It's aromatic. It is having aroma. So they started gauging that, oh, we can just use it. So let's go back before we reach to that point. Because they were gathering, I was coming to that point of the messenger. And also horn blowing. And also smoking. Putting a very large fire whenever even the maize, you harvest maize, like those ones. Whenever you harvest maize, you know the stalks dry. You know you have to cut and lay them down or lay them at a position. Whenever now you harvest maize from there, you leave those kind of the leaves there. So whenever you light them, you know how the smoke comes out. If you have ever seen large scale farmers, they do it, they burn them. So some of them use for animal stocking, you know, they stock them. So they could go, they could invite people of that area, of that clan, wherever they are, and they decide that this clan is going to host it. So they call boys and the age set, they carry those leaves there, and they go to a larger mountain, a very tall mountain, and they light their fire. So that smoke will dictate that there's something new, there's a message, it's being sent. So it was not an easy job. It was not like waking up and calling, and just in your comfort zone you can call a person from elsewhere. It was not acting that way. So they could just make sure that they could come out, develop, because the phone came in 21st century here to come to the villages here. 21st century mostly, people started using it, like right now. Because in 20th century, there was no phone here. I'm telling you that a fact. But developed countries like that, we are the third world countries. Talk about the first and second world countries, like the overseas, they had it. And even right now, guys, to have a phone, you should have the mentality. Talk about the skills, talk about the knowledge, so as you can operate the phone. So during that time, even if there was one person could have a phone, but no one could go there, because the ancestors, talk about whenever they came to colonize, there were the people who could have even such kind of the phones, but it was not guaranteed for human beings to be getting. So even sometimes there are some of the clans which were not colonized, you know, even like our area here, the Mzungu never reached to this kind of the position. The Britain people never reached to this kind of the position we are. And mostly they were gauging to the highlands. They got to Kisii, Isa farmers' homes. You can just know that. So that's why they just gauge themselves. And they know the fertile land where it was. But what they just affected us with is what those kind of the people are practicing. They affected such kind of the things like coffee plantation, cloves plantation. Talk about maize came just recently. Cassava, talk about a banana plantation. Most of the cash crops were tea, pyrethrum, cloves, and coffee and tobacco. Those were the most cash crop But the food crop, it was cassava and millet and some and sorghum. So those ones they came in the ancient time. But to the recent right now, maize was introduced. Maize was not our own staple food. Staple food was cassava, mix it with some of the sorghum, cook ugali, which is called brown ugali. Whenever you come to this kind of the site, whenever person we want to come, guys, whenever I'm starting the house and I construct it, guys, support me so that I can just make it very fantastic. Even in less than 4 months, we shall be inside, guys. Trust the process. Trust me, we shall be inside. So as you can just redeem and make sure that people are going to be gauging our own people there and make sure that we can come and cook for you ugali. And I am, whenever I talk about, I'm single. I'm single. Never worry about that one. So if it was in the ancient time of our fathers, I am now about to marry. I'm now about. It's like right now the way I am. I'm now this year I'm approaching 26 years. So it means that now I could be now told that now you are an age set. You are now being prepared to go and be circumcised. The age I am. Not the age of right now, a person of 12, 13, 14, from 14, 15, 16 to 18, they have already been circumcised. No, in ancient time, it was not that way. It was above 20s. And you are tall like a German machine. You are tall like you can even change a flag from the flagpole. So you are tall and you had cracks in the legs. You know those cracks in the legs? You could have them. So as you can be, make sure that you know there were no shoes. So people were just stepping on top of talk about thorns, everything. Even if there's a tree stab, and maybe it is going to shenanigans there. So you step on top. I think you can just get it. A tree trunk that has people have just cut it looking for firewood. Then they leave it now on the ground. So not seeing, go and step there. So you find that people are having scars on the legs, under the foot, under the everything. So they could be having a problem. So whenever we come to our own point of talking about this kind of the people, now whenever the messages reach all clans, now the clan elders, they are called to a certain clan. So as they can just discuss, you know, even this kind of the minute making, talk about a meeting and the minute making, it was ever there because they were using brains. And I'm just talking about if these people were so knowledgeable that way, if these people never went to school, who introduced this kind of a school? So as it is challenging because this kind of the computing, this kind of development, it has brought some of the chaotic of the highest order. So during that time, they could just come and gather in one of the biggest trees, and those kind of the trees, that's where offerings were being offered. Talk about in that tree, that's why the circumcision going to be held, because they sit at a specific position where they said every clan has a specific tree and a specific shrine and a specific caves where they could just sit, relax, and just tangle to know whom and how are they going to develop and how are they going to control this kind of the circumcision. So whenever they gather together, they lit fire at the middle, and maybe they have the traditional drinks. Whenever I talk about traditional drinks, not changre of distilled. Changre is called changa, not these ones that the talk about the machete man are bringing police to go and catch people and use the same ladies to go and molest them. No. That's a bear. It's called a bear's silly circumstances. So there are traditional drinks that are sugarless, are saltless, so it's just water and warm like a porridge. Pour it there, have a catalyst of millet, already the millet that has shoot. Put it inside there, it ferments, then it brings out like an alcoholic substances. So whenever they're just there, they have something long. Guys, one day I'll show you that kind of a tradition. I'll do it whenever I'll be finishing up my house. I'll do it to the tradition, and people will just be viewing direct as they just dig a hole on the at the center and put inside a pot. At that pot, they pour inside that kind of the traditional drink. It is having alcoholic percentage, but of a low gauge. So whenever they put it there, here in tradition, it's called gesembesi. Those one of the gesembisi is one that they have fermented sorghum, they have fermented millet, and also they have done like a porridge, and it has stayed for a longer period of time. So whenever they pour it there, the substance that is used so as it can dilute, it's only hot water. So whenever they drink, they are using some of the pipes, traditional pipes called chinkore. This kind of the traditional pipes are called chinkore. They were made from trees. There are some of the trees which people get something called a ngeta. Have you ever seen that kind of a game? It's like a timber. It has some holes, this line and this line. So there's a big one here, a big one at the end. I don't know, it's like a draft. So they put some of the seeds that are so hard, like cocoa. Like cocoa. So they put here, they take 10. They reach here, they pick 10. So those are the games that united people. So whenever they're playing such kind of the things, they had their own big pipes which were made from trees, like a branch of a tree, and it has it is called those trees that do have a hole inside, so it cannot leak. So you find that it is so long. A person in the tradition, those kind of the trees were there. So right now, people have cleared for them to have cultivation, because every clan, like the Korean clan, I can call a Korean tribe, they have their own cultural values. They have things that they could just be doing. Even if you are asked, what is the economical duty of this kind of the people? They know that this kind of the people are cultivators. Talk about they're farmers. This kind of the people are pastoralists. This kind of the people are businessmen. And this kind of the issue. So during the ancient time, it was forested everywhere, because we could find that a home is here. It was densely populated. So you could find a very tall, and it's having like a pipe. So whenever at the end, they have some metal-like structure, they put their holes, then they stick it to that stick. So as whenever they are sniffing, is it called pulling? Is it called pulling? I don't know. It's like drinking soda, using such kind of the small pipes that they're using. So it's like sniffing it. So it's like getting to the mouth. So it could have something at the end which could just filter those kind of the fermented water, fermented millet and such. So those kind of the things that were used to make that kind of that kind of a drink. So whenever now you are sitting at far end, and those kind of the pot is there at the middle. So everybody's sitting and the fire is there. So you are just warming yourselves. So they now have to put their thoughts together. They talk about now you should bring your age set from that clan, age set from here I talked about we have a Berege, a Bakira, a Banchari, we have this clan that I am, it's called a Barenchoka. So whenever those clans like 5, 6 they meet, so they talk about a specific day they're going to be meeting at a certain position, and the age set, those kind of the boys who are just already collected, they should be subjected to a certain field so they can be tested. Are they going to be manhood? Now whenever they reach at a certain position, there's a big field that's already put there, so as this kind of the boys will be taught. During the ancient time, even ladies were put in the other section, the boys in the other section, so they could be taught about how you will have to make sure that you are caring for your husband, you are caring for your wife, how you will go for hunting, because you will never sit. They will be taught about how to manage the family. They will be taught very many things about the home and how the life is. They will be taught very many things. So whenever they are taught like 1 full month, and during that time, they are not going to their homes. They are staying there. They have to build their houses there and stay there. And that is part of the exam they are being introduced to. So whenever you are staying at that kind of an area, it's just an enclosed area like a forest interior. It's like we are now picked and people tells you we are going to Masai Mara National Park to situate our own field in Masai Mara Park. Inside there. So whenever you reach there, you have to find that wild animals, you should be prepared to be attacked at any time. Whenever you are going to hunt, you should be prepared that they are so aggressive animals, they are soft animals, they are they're called people knowing animals. So there are different types of animals. You have to know about them. There are affectious animals, talk about the snakes, such kind of the things. So they were taught everything so that they can just, whenever they're coming to be manhood, they know everything. They have passed through it. And whenever a person is bitten by a snake, whenever maybe he rattled that kind of a snake, I don't know how it will be. So there are people who are trained there to just make sure that they are medicated. They're medicating this kind of the people. There are people who are just trained for every kind of the purpose. There are some of the boys who are now being oriented to do the circumcision. There are some of the boys who are already selected because they're using like something like a witchcraft there, or some norms can never know how they're just like witchcraft. So there's a person told that, oh, this kind of a clan, or this kind of a clan, it's the one that is doing circumcision. So there's a certain family that's in that legacy of circumcising. So that's how it was. So whenever it reaches at a position now or a specific time, now everybody is trained. Now they are told, go and hunt. So you are prepared already. You are told about how the animals are. They are told everything. So they are now told, go and hunt. So whenever this kind of the people take now the advantage and now moving to various sites, you are just told whenever you find, make sure that you are in groups. That is the best thing they were ever told. Be in groups. You can never win in a group, in a certain position like one person. No, just be in groups so as whenever this can attack you from this side, you can see it, or you can be helped with the second person. But if you thought that you are so mature, you could go in your own ways, it was so pathetic. It was so wrathful. It was so disgusting. You could be found maybe eaten already with the wild animals. So they were moving in groups and they were hunting meticulous. Some of them came back, some never came. And how do the report reaches this kind of the families? They talk about, okay, your son, this and this and this. And you know, whenever you are lost, no one can come to look for you because they know that you are already taken. And whenever they are told, make sure that your mouth is the first priority. Whenever you hear that something is not good, just shout. Because you can find a group of 10 people moving through here. 10 people here, 10 here, 10 here. That way. So maybe the section of you, maybe you have gone and find now the anthropes, not anthropes. Talk about elephants are in front of you. Or you go and find that now the lions are in front of you, the 10 people. You can do nothing. So you have to shout, the other people could dance. So sometimes it was so difficult and people were about to know this kind of the things should be just removed because our people are dying. It was the fact. People are dying. People are dying. So you can find that 20 people are not found. Maybe the people will come back. They are so less. And it was putting people in a way that if it was not meant like that one. So they started shifting things until to develop to today. Because today, you are just born 8 days like Jesus, introduced to the hospital. Cut the cucumber is cut a half. And we are told that half, let it now grow. So that's the fact how it's going. So, but whenever you go back to the tradition, I was just sympathizing with such kind of a person who was coming out to talk about, this kind of the clan, no. It was shenanigans and stupidity on the silliest of the highest order. So this is what is backfiring onto this kind of the position. So guys, keep it tuned, keep it locked. Much of the things going to be coming to live, which is tomorrow. Let's go with the music, so as I can just entertain you a little bit and make sure that things are coming to live one-on-one. Woo! Woo! Traditional songs, guys. Let's go. Catch me. I have died already. Catch me. I'm liquored. Tango tande. Today is pure culture, guys. Tango tande heroin. It means that catch me because I'm liquored. My head is rolling. Tango tande heroin. Radio, guys. Woo! Tango tande heroin. Tango tande heroin. Tango tande heroin. it's so sounding into our traditional norms and customs. Woo! Tomorrow gonna be another day. Guys, keep it tuned. Subscribe, like, share. Let's see if you like it. Comment there so as we can just continue with our norms and our culture and make sure that we are venturing to get more and more. And this kind of the things I'm gonna be telling you, it's the G Radio coming out clearly, and it's one-on-one. Maybe one day I'll bring the aged person so as you can just tell us, was it the fact, and why and how was it being cultivated, and we can just know, is this kind of our own generation? Are we going to get the concept on how they are? Keep it tuned, keep it locked. Gintu on the spot.